Right now, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is at a very strange point. After the huge success of Avengers Endgame, things slowed down. Some movies worked, some didn't. Fans started asking one big question: what is the next big story? And now all eyes are on Marvel Studios, because they are quietly building something much bigger than it looks. The name Avengers. Doomsday has started to appear in rumors, leaks, and fan discussions. While Marvel has not officially confirmed every detail, the pattern is clear. Just like they slowly built up to Infinity War, they are now setting the stage for another massive event. But this time, it's different. This time, it's not just about heroes fighting a villain. It's about entire worlds coming together, or crashing into each other. To understand this, we need to look at the multiverse. Marvel has already opened this door in several projects. Different timelines, different versions of characters, and even different realities now exist at the same time. This idea gives Marvel a very powerful tool. It allows them to bring in characters that were never part of the MCU before, especially the X-Men. And here's where things get interesting. Marvel now owns the rights to the X-Men again. That means characters like Wolverine, Professor X, and Magneto are finally available to join the main story. But Marvel is not rushing it. They are being very careful. Instead of suddenly introducing these characters, they are dropping small hints, small clues, and letting fans slowly connect the dots. At the same time, Avengers. Doomsday is expected to be a turning point. If the multiverse becomes unstable, if timelines start breaking, then new characters can enter the main universe in a natural way. This is not just a guess. It's a smart storytelling move. It keeps the story exciting while also making sense inside the world Marvel has created. Another important point is timing. Marvel knows they need a strong comeback. After mixed reactions from fans, they need a film that brings everyone back together. A movie that feels big, emotional, and important again. And nothing is bigger than the idea of the Avengers meeting the X-Men for the first time. So when we look at all these pieces, the multiverse, the rights to X-Men, the slow hints, and the talk around Avengers, Doomsday, it starts to feel less like a rumor and more like a plan. A plan that has been building quietly in the background. And if this is true, then we are not just watching another Marvel phase. We are watching the setup for one of the biggest crossovers in movie history. Something very interesting has been happening inside the MCU, and most casual viewers didn't even notice it. While the big action scenes and main stories grab attention, Marvel has been quietly planting small clues, tiny moments that don't seem important at first, but when you connect them, they tell a completely different story. A story that points directly toward the arrival of the X-Men. One of the biggest hints came from Ms. Marvel. In one simple scene, there was a word used that changed everything: mutation. It was quick, almost easy to miss, but for fans who know the comics, this was huge. For the first time in the MCU, Marvel didn't use science experiments or accidents to explain powers. They hinted that some people are just born different. That is the core idea behind mutants and the X-Men. Now, think about why Marvel would do this. They didn't need to use that word. They could have explained her powers in many other ways, but they chose this specific path. That tells us something important. This is not random. This is planned. Another massive clue appeared in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In that film, we saw a version of Professor X. Even though it was not the main timeline version, it proved one thing clearly. The X-Men exist somewhere in the multiverse. And if they exist in one universe, there is nothing stopping them from crossing into another, especially if the multiverse starts breaking. This is where Marvel's strategy becomes very smart. Instead of introducing the X-Men all at once, they are slowly getting the audience ready. First, they show that mutants can exist. Then, they show that X-Men characters already exist in other realities. Step by step, they are preparing fans for the moment when these worlds finally connect. There are also other small hints spread across different projects, strange events, unusual powers, and characters who don't fully understand their own abilities. These details might seem normal, but they fit perfectly into the idea that mutants are already out there, hidden in the world, waiting to be revealed. And let's not forget something very important. Marvel loves long-term storytelling. They don't just make one movie and move on. They build stories over years. Sometimes a small line or a short scene becomes very important later. That's exactly what could be happening right now with these mutant hints. When you step back and look at everything together, it starts to feel less like coincidence and more like a clear direction. Marvel is slowly changing the rules of its universe, moving from heroes created by accidents to heroes born with powers. And if that shift is already happening, then the arrival of the X-Men is not a question of if, it's a question of when. Now let's talk about the event that could bring all of this together. Avengers, Doomsday. This is not just another superhero movie. If the rumors and story direction are true, this film could become the moment where the entire MCU shifts into a new era. Think about what Marvel is building right now. The multiverse is unstable. Different timelines are starting to collide. We've already seen small cracks, characters meeting alternate versions of themselves, worlds crossing over, and reality itself becoming harder to control. But so far, these have only been warning signs. Doomsday could be the moment when everything finally breaks. And when something breaks on this level, it doesn't stay small. It becomes a global, even universal problem. Entire realities could start collapsing into each other. Heroes from different worlds could be forced into the same space, and that is exactly the kind of situation where new teams, new alliances, and new conflicts are born. This is where a powerful villain like Dr. Doom could enter the story. Unlike past villains, Doom is not just strong. He is smart, patient, and always thinking ahead. He doesn't just fight heroes. He controls situations. If someone like him gets access to multiverse-level power, the threat becomes much bigger than anything the Avengers have faced before. Imagine this scenario. Timelines are collapsing, universes are merging, and chaos is everywhere. In that moment, characters from different realities, including mutants, could suddenly appear in the main MCU timeline, not as a simple introduction, but as a result of a disaster. That makes their arrival feel natural, not forced. And this is what makes Doomsday so important. It's not just about defeating a villain. It's about survival. Heroes may not even understand what's happening at first. They may have to team up with people they don't trust or don't even know. The Avengers could meet mutants in the middle of a crisis where there is no time for long explanations, only action. This also raises the emotional stakes, because when worlds collide, not everyone survives. Some characters could be lost. Some realities could disappear forever. That kind of loss brings real weight to the story, something fans felt strongly during Endgame. And Marvel knows that emotional connection is what makes these movies unforgettable. Another key point is scale. Doomsday has the chance to feel even bigger than past Avengers films, not just in action, but in meaning. This could be the story that resets the MCU, reshapes its future, and opens the door for completely new characters and teams. So when you look at everything, the unstable multiverse, the slow hints about mutants, and the possibility of a mastermind like Dr. Doom, it all starts to connect. Avengers. Doomsday is not just another chapter. It could be the turning point where the X-Men finally step into the main story, changing the MCU forever. Now here's where things get really serious. If everything we just talked about actually happens, then the MCU is not just adding new characters, it's changing its entire future. For years, the story mostly focused on the Avengers. Heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor were the center of everything. But after Endgame, that original team is gone or no longer leading the story. Marvel has been trying to build a new direction, but something has been missing. A strong, fresh core that can carry the next big saga. And this is exactly where the X-Men come in. If mutants enter the MCU through Avengers Doomsday, it won't just be a cool moment. It will change how this universe works. Because mutants are different from every other hero we've seen so far. They are not created by accidents or technology. They are born with powers. And that creates a completely new kind of story. Think about the world reacting to mutants. Not everyone will accept them. Some people may fear them. Some may see them as a threat. This opens the door for deeper conflicts, not just big battles, but emotional and social struggles. The MCU can move into stories that feel more real, more complex, and more intense. So if the X-Men truly arrive, everything changes. The story gets deeper, the world gets bigger, and the MCU enters a completely new era, one that could redefine superhero storytelling all over again.